I'm Marlene Leroux, and I was very privileged to be trained as a music teacher. And then I taught in various schools in the Western Cape and in the Eastern Cape. And then I became a music subject advisor in the Western Cape. I'm today employed by the Artscape Theatre Centre, and I can apply my skills here. The education program at Artscape is of utmost importance. We again experience, once again, young people coming to the theatre, coming to see their set works, because everybody learns differently. But most important as well is that the arts is about holistic development. Maths and music are so intertwined because it's about logic, it's about memory, it's about discipline. And it's important that we look at the development of young people. We can't be without the arts, because the arts plays a valuable role in how we look at teamwork, how we look at how do we interact with each other. Being in the arts is not just to be a performer. There's the technical side of it. There's the sound engineering, stage management, various jobs that's in a theater. So what I want to say is that schools must take the arts curriculum very serious. Let's employ skilled people to instill the discipline of music, arts, dance in the environment of the school system. I wish you well with the conference, and I hope that the arts will be taken as importance just as the other subjects. Arts should be in every single school in order for the enhancement of the curriculum, but it's important for us to look at the holistic development of a learner.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Arts Conference 2022. On behalf of Rustenburg Girls Junior School, the Western Cape Education Department, and Schoolscape, we want to welcome you to these exciting 2 days of keynote speakers, panel discussions, and workshops. We hope you're as excited as we are. So I'm Belinda Petersen. I'm the principal at Rustenburg Girls Junior.
I'm Hendrik Marais, Head of Music and Creative Arts, also at Rustenburg Girls Junior School.
And I am Thapelo Phukuje. I'm the marketing specialist at Rustenburg Girls Junior.
So welcome to all of you, especially our teachers. We have primary and high school teachers with us. We have specialist teachers in the creative arts, and we also have lots of generalists too. We have teachers from urban areas, from rural areas, from all over South Africa. So welcome to all of you. To our principals and school management teams, welcome to you as well. We have universities, we have colleges represented with students and lecturers, community organizations, art centers, arts organizations, officials from the Western Cape Education Department, as well as the Department of Basic Education. Welcome to all of you. It's so wonderful to have you joining us here at our virtual Creative Arts Conference. We also have attendees from other countries. So welcome if you are from Botswana, if you're from the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, United States, Papua New Guinea, Pakistan, China, and Finland. Welcome to all of you, and we're so excited that you're joining us as well. So over the past few days, we've had a number of you interacting on the Woover platform that we're using to present this conference. There's lots of opportunities to engage, and Thapelo is going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Thank you very much, Belinda. Thank you. Welcome to the Creative Arts Conference 2022. Do engage with us on the Woover app. There's quite a lot of things that you can do. You can visit our exhibitor space and engage there. You can start a conversation, a topic, and engage some more. There's quite a lot, and you can connect with a lot of people and network. It also, we have an opportunity for you to organize meetups. So also don't forget to join our social media, to follow us on all social media platforms. That's LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at Schoolscape Live using the hashtag CAC 2022. Last year, the heart of the school was missing when we did the Creative Arts Conference, and this year is no different.
Molly, what's wrong? What's going on?
I just feel really
there, Molly? Molly Metronome.
I need some help.
What can we do? I don't know. I'm trying to think. What can we do? What do you think we can do? How can we help Molly? So we need all of you to help Molly Metronome beat for better. We need everybody who's on the platform to go to the exhibitor space. You'll find the challenges booth there, and you can go and help Molly to get her beat back and to beat better. There's some challenges to complete. You'll also find a link in the chat as well. There's some challenges that you need to complete to help Molly Metronome to build her party pack, because that's what's going to help her to beat better. You also stand a chance of winning awesome prizes, and of course, just helping getting everything that you need to beat for better wherever you are. So this is what you need to do. There's Molly's party pack, so you'll find that in the challenge space. You can help her complete all the challenges to make her party pack come together. And these are some of the things, some of the prizes that you stand a chance to win. Purple ZX party packs, Take-A-Lot vouchers, and if you're one of our international attendees, you can win an Amazon voucher as well. Here's our challenges for today. We have 8 challenges, and then we also have 8 challenges for tomorrow. So kicking us off, we're focusing on reflecting and restoring with the creative arts. So head on over to the exhibitor booth, the challenges booth, so that you can participate in those challenges. Now I'm going to hand over to Hendrik, who's going to introduce our first keynote speaker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we start, we would like to extend our deepest condolences to Andria, to citizens of the United Kingdom, to members of the Commonwealth, with the passing yesterday of Queen Elizabeth II. It is with great excitement that I want to introduce you today to our keynote address, or the first keynote address at the 2022 Creative Arts Conference, with a lot of talk, workshops, and discussions that will talk about the reflection, how to recharge, restore, and create the creative arts classrooms. There can't be a better or more exciting person or international guest to open this year's event. Andria Zafirakou. Andria is an arts and textile teacher at Alperton Community School in England. She's known as a rule breaker. That through from Andria on the side when she gets to talk. But one thing became very clear in the eyes of the rest of the world. Here is someone that fiercely believes in the power of the arts to unlock trauma and give a new child the confidence to speak. In 2018, Andria won the prestigious Global Teachers Prize, and then in April 2021, her book, Those Who Can Teach What It Takes to Make the New Generation, was published. Andria's story is rallying in a wake-up call for everyone to show that life is really, and what is life really like about for children today, and moving inside and providing the insight and the understanding of the extraordinary people that we need to shape the next generation. We are so excited to welcome Andria on this platform.
A very warm good afternoon to everyone there in the conference. It's a very strange day for us in the UK, but what better therapy remedy than to share with you and to talk about the importance of the arts and the joy it brings to everyone, all our young people and our teachers as well. If you just bear with me, I've got a presentation to share with you. And fingers crossed we'll be able to work it and make everything well. Fantastic. Okay. So hopefully you could see my presentation there. I wanted to share with you the lessons that have been learned over the years. I've been teaching arts for the last 17 years in my school, and my school is based in the London Borough of Brent. And this is my room. This is where it happens. And there's something very special about classrooms, isn't it? I mean, all over the world, classrooms are places whereby there's so much potential and curiosity and excitement. And the fact that we are there as educators, providing that seed of inspiration, providing that moment where a student can get it, or the moment whereby a young person has achieved something which they're so proud of. And we've been in that journey. We started that, we've helped them to achieve that. So there's something really fulfilling about the power of the classroom and how important it is. But for me, I think I'd like to share with you, if I may, the best teachers I've ever had in my life. And my teachers are my students. And I have three stories I'd like to talk to you about my students. This first student here, his name is Alvaro. And what was really unique about Alvaro is that I learned that I must be inclusive. So let's talk about his story. Alvaro came to my school when he was approximately 14 years old. He moved from a special educational needs school, and his parents wanted him to go to, and I've got my fingers up here, in inverted commas, a normal school, in a mainstream school, where they would be able to work with other young people who are different than him. He had lots of learning challenges. One of them was that he was a selected mute, dyslexia, and lots of problems at home. When I first met his parents said to me, "Miss Zafirakou, we know that my child won't achieve a GCSE, a qualification in ever, but we want him to be part of this school community so he can make friends." Now that shocked me. And I was a young teacher at that time. I think I was in the profession for 2 or 3 years. And I was really shocked. A parent saying that their child cannot gain a qualification. Anyway, so I was a bit stunned, and I wasn't prepared to teach Alvaro. I wasn't sure what special tips or tricks that this individual needed. Anyway, he came in on that first day. He came into that classroom and he sat down, and he was terrified. He would not remove his coat, and his hood was up. And obviously in my classroom, it was there was talking, the students were working, there was some music in the background. I went up to Alvaro and I said, "Alvaro, you're very welcome to my class. Just to get you going, whenever you're ready, there's a piece of paper in front of you. Draw the objects that you can see on the table. Just take your time, no pressure whatsoever." Throughout the 2-hour lessons, nothing happened. And what was really sad was that, I was really worried. I was like, well, he's not engaging. What do I do? Maybe the parents were right. Maybe he won't achieve anything. Maybe he's not destined to be able to access art. And so I was really concerned. At the end of the lesson, I set a homework task for the students to produce a piece of artwork that was really special to them, and to think about an object that really inspired them. The next lesson, I collected the homework, and when I saw Alvaro, he didn't hand anything in. But at the end of the lesson, he came up to my table and very sneakily crept up whilst I was talking to some other students. And from the corner of my eye, I saw him pull out some papers, and he put them on my desk and he ran out. And I quickly ran to the table to see what he'd left me. And lo and behold, I picked up the most exquisite drawing of a bass guitar I've ever seen. It was done in the most beautiful, sensitive tonal shades. It was wonderful. And I screamed. I was like, "Oh my God, Alvaro, stop. Is this your work?" And he said, "Yes, it was." No, actually, he didn't say. I beg your pardon, he didn't say. He just looked at me because this wild woman was screaming at him. And I said, "Is this your work?" And then he nodded. And that was it for me. I knew that this child, there was something, he had potential. And so I quickly went to my desk and grabbed all the papers, all the objects, all the pencils, everything that I could find to make a materials packet for this child. And I gave them to him, and I gave him a list of 5 things. I want you to do this, 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 this. Right, do you understand? This, 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 this. Once more, do you understand? Can you nod? Yes, you understand. And Alvaro, completely, traumatized by this mad Greek woman talking to him, he eventually nodded, and then he rushed out of the door. 2 years later, he came back. It was examination results day, and he came in to receive his examinations grades, and he had the biggest grin on his face because he got a GCSE grade D. So he got a qualification, the only qualification he ever had, and it was his. I was a little bit upset because he was 3 marks away from a grade C, and if he had that grade C, there was an opportunity for him to take A-levels. With determination and resilience, we spoke to the head teacher who allowed Alvaro to do A-level art. And again, after 2 years, he came out with an A-level grade A in art. Alvaro left us after that, and we believe he went on to college, and he's never been back in touch with us, which is very, very sad. But what I'm hoping is that what he learned from the experience of the art room, your classroom, was the fact that he could be just like anyone else, that he had the potential, and that it didn't matter what learning challenges he may have had. We broke that ceiling in the art room, and he flew, and he achieved something which was quite remarkable. And then you have the students who, within our subjects, within the arts, they are trying so hard to communicate with us, to tell us something. And we need to make sure that we are listening, not with our ears, but with our eyes. And I want to tell you the story about Rima. Rima was what I would call a ghost child. She was a child who would do absolutely everything beautifully, perfectly in our art rooms. She was quiet. She would never cause a disturbance. She was always polite. And she was a perfect student. For her examination piece, she produced this piece of work. Now, the challenge that we had as teachers and as assessors of her work was the fact that her coursework, her body of work, which was leading up to this final piece, was completely different. It did not match. In her portfolio, in her coursework, she was studying things like organic forms, so flowers. But here we've got the most raw, distressed self-portrait of this individual. It's exquisite, but there was something very disturbing about it. At that moment, this child produces work. When speaking to Rima, we asked her to come in, and obviously she was completely concerned that we asked her to come in. The question I said to her was, Rima, what's happening? What's going on? And then at that moment, you see the signs where as a teacher, as an adult, you dread to see, and that's the signs where a child is pulling down their sleeves at the top and is, playing with their wrists. And what came to light was the fact that Rima was self-harming, because in about 3 weeks' time, after her examinations was finished, she was going to be on a holiday whereby she would be married at the age of 16. And all she wanted to do was to become a nurse. So this piece of work was for us a cry of help from this student. Would we have seen it through any other means? I'm not sure. But thankfully, just to finish off the story, Rima, we did intervene with the services, and Rima did stay on at school, and she did stay on to do A-levels, and did not become a nurse, but did go on to become a doctor because she was extraordinarily intelligent and very capable young person. And then we have those individuals where, well, what can I say? These are the individuals. This is Alex. And Alex, when you look at your roll card, your register at the beginning of the year, you need to sit down because you're like, oh my God, I've got Alex this year. Oh my God. Because he's the one who will challenge you. He will, he's very unpredictable, and he would throw chairs around the room. Of course, he had many, many learning disabilities and challenges. Social and emotional challenges as well. He wasn't able to make friends at all. So we were quite I was very concerned and almost traumatized for teaching Alex. But there was a lesson whereby I think changed his life, and that lesson was when we were studying and we were doing portraits of Picasso. And at the beginning of the lesson, what I normally do midway through a project, I always showcase each child's work by showing them to each other and saying, look at this work. We're midway through. What's going well? What does this student need to do to become even better? How can what advice? And then I lifted up this piece of work and in front of me, and at the back, of course, nobody put their name. So I was like, oh, come on, guys, how many times? Put your names on your work. But then all I could hear was really fantastic comments. Oh, miss, I really like the way he blended the thickness. He mixed the powder paints really well, and they're not watery, they're really thick. Miss, I like the way that he used a combination of colors. Miss, I like the way that it does look like Picasso's Weeping Woman. And as I looked around and I asked the question, whose work is this? At the back of the classroom, I saw Alex's hand just shoot up, because obviously he wasn't near the group, he was right at the back, all by himself. And then what happened then changed my life to the point whereby I was a wreck. I was sobbing. What happened then was the rest of the class, when they saw my jaw drop because it was Alex, they turned around and they cheered. They celebrated their fellow peer, their fellow student, because this child never has that, never got that, never received that moment of praise ever, which was genuine, which was real. And it was like we just won the World Cup in the classroom. And from that moment on, I noticed a slight change in Alex. He was much more engaged. He was calmer. He was proud. He wasn't cured. He did have moments in the classroom, but teaching him was something that I really looked forward to, because he gave everything to me from that moment on. And I was really proud and honored to have him in my class. So with those stories, what do we know about the arts in education? This is why we need to protect them fiercely. We need to fiercely protect the arts in education. Okay? And of course, the arts mean drama, dance, music, all of those fantastic subjects which unleashes creativity in our classrooms. So we know that students from low-income families who participate in the arts are 3 times more likely to get a degree. We know that participation in the arts help young people cognitive abilities raised by 17%. We know that participation in the arts helps deliver skills and behavior that leads to children doing better in their school. I mean, isn't that wonderful? The fact that the more arts activities and opportunities that you can create in your classrooms, your students will do better. The employability of students is far higher, and they're likely to be staying in employment. And again, that's probably because of all the creative skills such as resilience, such as mastery, such as communication. I mean, this is what the arts do. People who take part in the arts are 38% more likely to report good health. That's wonderful. We are producing healthy and well-minded individuals. But I think the bottom one is, for me, the one that always inspires me, that students from low-income families who engage in the arts at schools are twice as likely to volunteer. So what we're doing is we're creating great citizens for our communities. We're creating people who want to help everyone else. And what a world it would be if that was the case everywhere. So you're asking how am I going to do this, Andria? Come on, how? And I just want to take this time just to remember this and to put this slide on the wall, because we need to protect ourselves as educators and sometimes go back, sometimes reflect, actually all the time reflect, and to preserve ourselves and to make sure that we are okay and we have got all the skills before we share it to somebody else. So here's that analogy of, you put your own life, your mask on first before somebody else. And so when looking at great teaching, and what inspires young people, I think this is a lovely phrase by William Arthur Ward. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, but the great teacher inspires. We inspire, we ignite something, we change lives. And when you have a look at the definition of inspiration, the second part, the noun there that says the act of inhaling, the drawing of air of gases, as in breathing, that's what we do. We create life, we create oxygen, We create those moments which bring joy and existence to our young people. We are inspirational. And that's what great teaching is about. Making young people want to do more, want to feel good about themselves. And so going back to that, you know, that gas mask, the aeroplane mask slide there, you know, what may help to achieve that is by thinking about what inspires you. And this never fails. This slide here never fails to inspire me. And what it is I'm sure you all know what this is, but it's a cave drawing that was found in France 35,000 years before Christ. 35,000 years. And when you look at this and you look at the power of the human being, and at that time, what was important? This story, this diary, this moment of this individual's life whereby he or she drew these buffaloes or these animals running wildly, and he or she captured them beautifully with those basic materials as elements they found in the soil. I mean, if that is not inspiring, I'm not sure what is. And it always brings me goosebumps seeing this piece of work. And now I often get asked, what's the most important things that a teacher should do? You know, what is it? What is it that I need to do to become a great teacher? And I don't know the answers to everything, but I know what works for me and what works in my school. I just wanted to share them with you. So the first thing is I believe that building relationships early on with your young people is vital. Do they know what team you support? Do they know how many children you have? Do they know what your favorite chocolate bar is? You know, things like this is special because you're letting them into your life. And by doing that, they will let you into theirs and they will engage, they will open up with you. And as a result of that, you have this kindness. So kindness is something which is very, very underrated in school. Why are we not kind to our young people? Why do we have to not smile until Christmas, which is what is taught in the UK Teacher Training College? You know, what does that do? And our young people really, really now more than ever need to be secure in their mental health. And kindness is a way in which they can receive that. And just like my first story of Alvaro, the fact that his parents didn't have high expectations of what he could achieve, I didn't have high expectations of him until right at the end when I saw that guitar drawing. I mean, this was the moment. So we must have high expectations of all our children. Just because they are the same, they are the brother of the child who we taught 2 years ago who didn't end up doing anything, doesn't mean that that child has the same destiny. And every child must have a clean sheet, always aim for the top. You know, appetite. I'll explain to you now. I don't mean here about eating everything, but with an appetite is about an appetite for your subject, your love to learn, you know, wanting to really make sure that you are hungry for self-development, for your own ability to constantly improve. So to have an appetite for teaching good lessons is something I think helps to drive me to become a better teacher. That and lots of chocolate, but let's move on from there. And finally, pride. You know, it's the pride we have in our work, the fact that, you know, being a perfectionist, is it a bad thing? No, it's not. It's a good thing. It's you know, we are teachers. We train hard. We make sure that we grow and inspire and are the beginning of everything for young people. We should be very proud of our profession because it's a glorious profession. So I'm hoping that you're all very proud of the schools that you're working in and with the young people that you are working with as well. And what I'm just going to do now here is just put some words up on what I feel our young people need. I think the word is, yeah, what they need. And you know, it's about and what opportunities we can start thinking about delivering in our classroom. So first of all, imagination. You know, do we give our young people the time to imagine, to go off on their own tangents, to try things for themselves, to see if that works? do we give a chance to our young people to feel? Now, this is a very strange one. I don't mean feeling as in feeling your emotions. I mean here as physical feelings, so touch, exploring media. You know, what I noticed from COVID was many of our young people, they've never, you know, they weren't able to cut. There were 11-year-olds who couldn't cut a piece of paper in a straight line. So again, going back from having a no touch, no feel zone due to COVID to now really getting them out there, feel textures. What is this? What senses have been inspired by the aspect of feel? Aspiration again, it's just making sure that they aim for the best, that they are, yeah, they all want to be footballers when they're 11 years old. Why not? You know, go for it. You know, make sure they're aspiring to that top so that they can have those dreams and those ambitions to achieve. And allowing them to question, having those safe spaces in your classrooms whereby no question is a bad question. I met a new group of students on Monday. They were my year 9 groups because we started on Monday in the UK, our academic calendar. And one of the first things I said was, you know, there's no bad question. Every question is a good question. Every question might help somebody else that has the same question. And by saying that, I didn't realize, but then I had 5 different hands up. Oh, miss, can I just check something with you? Miss, is this okay? You know, so they felt comfortable by asking those questions. And okay, sometimes it will diverge into topics where you may not be comfortable in speaking about, but that's okay. That's okay. The answer to that is, you know, I'll get back to you, or I'll find somebody who may be able to help you with that. Joy and play. It is allowed in schools. It is very much allowed, and we must be advocates for this. The last time you enjoyed life, you know, the last moment of happiness you had was when you were joyful, when you were in your playful mode. And that's the same with young people. They learn so much more when they're in their playful and joyful mode. So let's not always knock these 2 words out of our curriculums. Opportunities to talk. So many of my young students have been covered with masks. And because of that, we've noticed that the oracy and the communication skills have really gone down. So now is a chance to really push that up, push up their communication levels, push up their oracy skills so that they can then be able to have very good social skills as well in their communities. Create, as you know. Identify. Fascinating, this one. How can I explain? So for this one, I would like to challenge you with a question. How often do you look at your textbooks or your resources that you're using, and do those resources and textbooks, do they have the same name as the young people you have in your class? Can the students identify with artists, cultures that you are teaching them? If not, why? Because that's how you get the buy-in. That's how young people feel really proud about themselves. And that's when the learning really takes place. And last but not least, again, kindness is again making sure that our environments are kind, that the playgrounds and social places are areas whereby we are advocating kindness and sharing and respect for every single person in the school. And what I would like to do now is very quickly to take you, can you see how my voice has just changed? And that's because of pride. I want to take you on another story of a student of mine. Now, this piece of artwork is currently hanging at the back of my office on the wall. It means a great deal to me because this artwork was created by a student of mine called Sampada, I think 10 years ago. And Sampada was the most tiniest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. She was a beautiful little Nepalese young lady. She was at least 1 foot shorter than anyone else in her class, and she had the biggest glasses, black frame glasses, stunning little child. I could not stop her from drawing teeny tiny motifs in her sketchbook. Every lesson I was like, come on, Sampada, draw big, scale up, fill the whole page. She would giggle and go back to her tiny, tiny, tiny little drawings. On her GCSE examination day, again, it's always on these days, but my jaw dropped because in she came, Zampada, carrying a piece of MDF board 1 by 1 meters. And I was looking at her and she goes, Miss, where can I set up for my exam? And I just cleared everything. I go, you can set up here. What are you going to do? She goes, Miss, I've got an idea. And I was like, okay, great. And I left her to it. And at the end of the exam, she produced this work. And I was so proud of her because she really pushed out of her comfort zone and created a really successful, beautiful piece. But then she contacted me about 3 years ago, out of the blue, as they do. They still call you Miss, don't they? It doesn't matter how old you are, but they'll call you Miss. And she said to me, Miss, I've got some great news. And this is the first time I've heard of Zampada. Miss, I've been selected to be in a British TV program called The Great Pottery Throwdown. This is just like the Bake Off that we have, but it's a competition with artists who work with clay. And there is my girl there. There she is. She was a member of this team who were competing against each other to get the prize of being the best pottery throwdown contestant. So God, if that doesn't make you proud to be a teacher, then I don't know what will. And so what's the lessons learned? If I was to reflect, this is it. And this is what we must hold in us, because I know it's very challenging for teachers of the arts and just teachers in this community. But I'd like to share this with you because this, I found this on social media, and when I read this, my heart just went up. So engineers, they make bridges, artists make paintings, but scientists make rockets, but teachers make them all. So we make all of these fantastic professions, and that's what teaching is all about. So thank you so much, colleagues, for your time. I hope that was useful. I hope it was inspiring and it didn't bore you too much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of us. I don't know if you've been able to see all the comments in the chat, but there were some amazing comments and reflection of how you've inspired all of us on the platform. I'll just share some of that with you. And I just want to say, Alex, your painting inspired me to wear this hat.
Oh.
And as some of the attendees said, there are many Alexes in our classrooms. And so thank you for inspiring us with that. You mentioned that arts gives the children a chance to speak out, a voice to speak out. You spoke about how powerful the arts is. There was a comment in the chat about the power of the arts cannot be undermined. Every child gets accepted in the art room. One of the points that I took away from your session was people who engage in the arts are 38% more likely to report good health. And I think that's so important for us to know as teachers and in schools. That teachers' well-being is so important. It's necessary for us to step back. It's necessary for us to reflect and really to share the human behind the teacher. Thank you so much for inspiring us with those words. And obviously, not forgetting joy and play. I think that's absolutely essential in all our classrooms across the world to remember that joy and play is so important. So Andria, thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom and your beautiful stories. It's so inspiring. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
We know
Thank
that
you
some
very
of our
much.
attendees have been struggling a little bit with sound or other issues. There is a link in the chat as well as in the events description to YouTube. There's a link there. So if you're struggling, you can just log on to YouTube and enjoy the conference from there. And also a reminder that if you are in South Africa and you will be getting load shedding throughout this conference, we are recording all the sessions. They will be available on the Google platform for you to watch on demand. Also, we've had some questions around attendance registers. We don't have an attendance register, but you will receive a certificate. A form link will be shared with you tomorrow, where you can fill in that form and you will receive your certificate after the conference. Now we're going to hear from Karen Dudley, our next keynote speaker. Karen Dudley is part of the Western Cape Education Department. She is the Director of Curriculum Development in General Education and Training. Ms. Dudley has served education for more than 3 decades in numerous capacities. Her vision is to constantly focus on the improvement of learning and teaching environments and to build strong, respectful relationships of trust and support. In 2020, the Mail and Guardian named her as one of the 50 most powerful women in South Africa. And so we are so excited and privileged to have Karen Dudley sharing with us today. Over to you.
I am delighted to welcome all of you here, ladies and gentlemen, to our creative arts colleagues, our partners, critical friends, but most importantly, our teachers to the 2022 Creative Arts Conference. My name is Karen Dudley, and on behalf of the Western Cape Education Department, I would like to extend our warmest welcome and good wishes to all of you. Congratulations as well. I really want to take note of this one, ladies and gentlemen, to the visionary Rustenburg Girls Junior School, in partnership with Schoolscape, who are hosting this groundbreaking conference with the Western Cape Education Department, in particular the GET Curriculum Directorate. And then it would be remiss of me if I did not, and it is my real delight to be able to say a special word of gratitude to someone who I have great respect for, whom I admire as a woman and as a leader, the headmistress of Rustenburg Girls, Miss Belinda Petersen, of Rustenburg Girls Junior, as well as a very good and respected friend, Mr. Hendrik Marais, who is head of music and special subjects, as well as to the rest of the team as well, for the initiative to once again host a conference on creative arts and how we can improve the quality of teaching and learning for every learner in every classroom, in every school within the Western Cape, as well as in the broader South Africa. Allow me as well to welcome our head of the creative arts, Ms. Anina Lundi, for the Western Cape Education Department, doing phenomenal work with all stakeholders in this event, ladies and gentlemen. And so let me use this opportunity to welcome all colleagues from the National Department as well as other provinces, because it's not only the Western Cape, but we have a number of provinces and also partners abroad, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all our international guests. And here I have a little bit of a bias, because here I have one favorite, and that being who you've just spoken now to our Global Teacher Prize winner, who I've had the pleasure of meeting on numerous occasions. But each time I engage her, ladies and gentlemen, what a delight, what a learning curve to be able to know a global teacher has won the prize, and not just a global teacher, but we're talking about an art teacher. And so a special, special welcome to my very good dear friend and colleague, Miss Andria Zafirakou, who won the 2018 Global Teacher Prize in Dubai, and I was so privileged to witness her win that award, who just delivered her keynote address to all of us. I'm absolutely elated that this online conference is presented for the second year. And all fingers crossed, I have a feeling there's going to be a third year as well. And so may I venture just to go on and to say that the program promises to be even more exciting and even more thought-provoking than it was last year. And it will surely extend our understanding of how the arts can help us to be able to, and I want to emphasize, how it will help us to reflect, to restore, and more importantly, to recharge and ultimately create a better, improved, and more functional schooling system for all our children. The program of this year's Creative Arts Conference is supporting many of the CMAC approaches of the Western Cape Education Department. Now, what does this acronym CMAC mean? Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at the S for science, T for technology, E, engineering, A with a capital A, the arts, mathematics, agriculture, and coding and robotics. And so you might have heard of STEM, but in the Western Cape, we're talking about STEMAC, because we realize we're developing learners holistically. And all of those aspects within STEMAC and the subjects I've made reference to forms part of the holistic development of our learners. And so according to this approach, ladies and gentlemen, the arts plays a critical and a crucial role, to develop, as I said, our learners holistically. And so I therefore believe that this conference is critical in supporting arts education in our schools, to uplift our teachers and to uplift the arts at the same time. Through this conference, all educators have the opportunity to connect, to share best practices, and to enhance their learning experiences, not only for themselves, but ultimately for the impact that they are going to have on all of our learners. So the theme for this year, for 2022, Creative Arts Conference, is The Beat Goes On. You heard me correct. Let me repeat that. The theme for the 2022 Creative Arts Conference is The Beat Goes On. And so maybe next year it will be The Beat Goes On and On. And so the purpose of arts education is not only to produce artists, that is but one of it, ladies and gentlemen, but the true purpose at the end of the day of arts education is to develop a complete human being. And I think that's what's so important here. Complete in the sense of being capable of leading successful as well as productive lives in a free society. Colleagues, this program is going to bring about a revolution in your practice as a creative arts teacher, as an art practitioner. And if you haven't been part of it this last year, at the end, when you have to do the reflection, you will say, Karen, you were quite right. I feel restored, I feel re-energized, and it has brought about a revolution in my thinking, in my pedagogy, in my practice. And so do not miss the panel discussion as well on how the arts are infused in mathematics, in languages, and in sciences. So often we focus on the languages, on math and science, but how is the arts the base subject in all of this? To be able to uplift the critical thinking and reasoning of our learners, ladies and gentlemen. So don't forget to look out for that discussion later as the program unfolds over the next few days. And so with this, we also want to emphasize the entrepreneurial skills needed within the arts. That as the art, we do know that it is a form of careers as well. But how do we prepare our learners, and how do we co-create with our EMS teacher to be able to develop that particular skill? For me, that's very important. These are interesting keynote addresses presented by arts education experts from Finland, from England, and from the USA. These are sessions from Indigenous storytelling, African dance, to TikTok online learning. The school concert and its benefits project-based learning in the arts are to integrate the performing arts in a meaningful manner. This, to name but a few, are what you can expect today, ladies and gentlemen, as well as tomorrow. So what a program we have in store for you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let the show begin. Let the curtain rise on the 2022 Creative Arts Conference, and let us reflect, restore, recharge, but most of all, let us create. Enjoy the next 2 days with us as we partner and we co-create the Creative Arts Conference of 2022. Let the beat go on. Thank you so much, and thank you for spending your time and sharing with us. And so let us go out and create and restore 2022 Creative Arts Conference. Thank you.
Art is important. It helps me to perceive the world in a completely different way after doing art. I also find that the way I do my art or any kind of art helps to influence my day-to-day activities and my life. And I often find that my life is influenced and put into my art, and it's incredible to see that. Often I find that my opinions and my focus is a lot sharper after doing art, and my observation skills are much, much clearer. I've often also found that you can form lifetime bonds and relationships with people after doing art. And it's so, so incredible to have that relationship with people who can really appreciate art with you.
Thank you very much to Karen. Karen, I have to say that I echo the same sentiments as you when you said, let the show begin. When you spoke about developing learning holistically through STEMIC, that was so touching. And also you spoke about the beat goes on. Yes, the beat goes on. Now, thank you very much to Anna as well. You could just see with a smile, with a glow, that she's speaking about something that she loves, the art. You love the art, I love the art, Anna loves the art. Thank you very much. Okay, let's speak about, thank you very much. We see everyone who's engaging with regards to Beats for Better. Thank you very much. Do visit our exhibitor space and engage some more with us, get into that moment and enjoy with us. Thank you very much. And now we're going to be introducing our next keynote speaker, Hanneke. Hanneke is a creator of Buzz, the Buzz teaching method, teacher training courses, the Buzz TV show for kids, the Buzz music, the Buzz podcast for kids. Hanneke founded the Buzz Foundation NPO in 2018, which offers the same services as the Buzz for less fortunate communities across South Africa. She oversees and has personally custom developed all operation system for the unique organization. Hi, Hanneke, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you for that kind introduction. Thanks, everyone. It's such a privilege to be with you here this afternoon and to have listened to the inspirational words of Andria and also Karen. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'd like to chat to you today from my heart and begin by saying, I love children, especially the littlest ones, above anything else in the world. What I love the most about kids is their ability to be completely in the present, in the now, their sincerity, their way of trusting themselves and their confidence, and just their inherent energy. I do worry for them. I do worry for the future that we are leaving for this next generation. There are some pretty major global problems that they might need to solve when they are grown up. I worry whether access to things like clean water, nature, air to breathe, employment, the ability to provide a home for them and their families might be the exception and not the norm. In a world where it's impossible for me, for you, for us to solve these problems on behalf of our children, what can we do? What should we do? I would like to argue that it is imperative and our responsibility to equip our children to be able to solve these problems for a future where they can survive, not only survive, but thrive. Now, how do we predict this future? It's almost impossible, judging by the very recent past. The very recent past has been a breakneck speed. The pace of human development has been unlike anything else we've seen in human history. I started schooling in 1990. The home computer was literally an unfathomable idea. And today, hundreds of us are using it to chat to each other in cyberspace. I mean, the first iteration of the brick mobile cell phone was more than half a decade away. And today, when I was born, the word social and media was probably never used together. Today, we need a social media strategy, a presence, never mind, we've hopped all the way into the metaverse. I can't keep up. And it's impossible to foresee what's coming next. It's exciting and a little bit frightening, but surely not able for us to predict exactly what problems our children might need to solve in the future. Future-proofing our children means that we must actively invest in their ability to be able to generate new and original thoughts and ideas. So my best guess and argument is the most sought after skill for the future, and I think you'll agree with me because we're here on this shared platform, the most sought after skill for the future is going to be creativity. Let's sound the alarm. Now, creativity sits as the crown jewel in a set of skills that now researchers in the academic education space are starting to refer to as 21st century skills. And other 21st century skills include things like innovation, collaboration, critical thinking, communication skills. And now, if these are the most crucial skills for our children to survive in a future we cannot begin to imagine, then us as teachers and potentially parents urgently and naturally want to know, how can I make sure that my child has these skills for the future? I want to tell you a little story. This happens to be true. In 1968, two doctors, Dr. George Land and Beth Jarman, they developed a test for NASA. The purpose of this test was to find the most genius people in the world so that NASA could employ them as scientists and engineers so that they can continue to be the wonderful, incredible organization they are for the world. It was successful, and they were able to find and generate creative geniuses. The test looked at how the test was aimed at finding innovative solutions for complex questions. So it worked for NASA, and they carried on. The doctors Land and Jarman thought, we could take this test and we could apply it to a different subset of people. So they decided on a longitudinal test that involved 1,600 children, preschoolers of 4 to 5 years old. Now, I'd like everyone to try and go to the poll function of the chat box. And of this 1,600, you've got to go quickly now for me, 4 to 5 year olds that were tested on the same test to see how many 4 to 5 year olds were creative genius. How many would you venture scored actively as creative genius? 0 to 20%, 20 to 40%, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, or more than 80%. How many of these children would you say? I can see people are throwing in their answers, and I can see that some of you must have heard of this incredible study that was done as far back as the 70s, because yes, 98% of these preschoolers between the ages of 4 to 5 year olds scored as creative genius. And when they went back to those children at about age 12, it went down to 30%. At high school level, they were down to 12%. 12% of them still remained creatively genius. And at the age of adulthood, only 2% of the original 1,600 still scored as creative genius. So, half glass full, we all, or most of us, inherently come with the ability to be creatively genius. It's in the factory settings, in the base model. But the negative part of that, the bad news seems to be that the more we are schooled, the more we lose that innate creativity. So I think our challenge as a society is to safeguard this precious magic. We can now let the poll go. Thank you so much. I think our challenge as a society is urgently to safeguard this precious magic. Our innate ability as human beings to be creative at a genius level. In essence, this should be our most important conservational task. I mean, some of us chase snow leopards and try to save them up hills, and there's nothing wrong with that and keeping nature safe, but conserving this very thing, our force that allows us as human beings to have original thoughts. It's dying a slow death in classrooms and homes. Should that not be our most urgent cause? And schools? What are schools doing about this? Are they sounding the alarm? Are schools able to ignite and preserve in all children this precious, precious ability to come up with original thoughts above all else? Sadly, we are still operating in an education system that was designed for and in the industrial age. Schools, unfortunately, operate still much like factories that have a purpose to produce workers for a workforce that sadly has now been often taken over by modern production processes or intelligent machines that spit out matriculants for the workforce on the other end of the conveyor belt that actually no longer exists for them. Now we find ourselves slap bang in the fourth industrial revolution, and it's got its own unique challenges and opportunities. I don't think sprinkling a bit of robotics, edtech, and coding into children's timetables is going to do the trick. I think we're looking for a robust paradigm shift where creativity and anything that works through and for that for children should be at the absolute forefront of the agenda. We need to make sure that the infinite potential for children's creative genius is harnessed above all else. Do you know how I know that schools are not up to speed when it comes to the arts? What is the telltale sign for me? It's the way they treat the arts. And sorry, I don't mean how they treat visual arts, because painting is not necessarily that difficult, but it's how they treat, how the institution of education treats the performing arts. And I don't mean by that a little nursery rhyme here and a story there. I'm talking about the performing arts that's been for far too long relegated unnaturally out of the learning environment. And it's sitting shining on the extracurricular shelf. In my opinion, it should be front and center, absolutely curricular, used as a toolkit, a learning toolkit for teachers to help them teach. And why? Why should performing arts be front and center? I'm just wondering, how else are we going to access this most crucial ingredient for human development? Imagination. Legendary Sir Ken Robinson, also my absolute academic crush and the man who I find most inspiring in my work, said this most beautiful quote: imagination is the basis of everything that is uniquely and distinctly human. It is the basis of language, the arts, the sciences, systems of philosophy, and all the vast intricacies of human culture. Yet we relegate imagination to spare time and story time if we have time. And we do that at our peril. The race for the future is still on. New problems need to be solved. It should be our highest priority, imagination. Above all else, yes. Above maths and sciences, I might be cheeky, but I say yes, because without imagination, we cannot utilize maths and sciences properly. We cannot utilize maths and science to its full potential without that sprinkling, that magic of imagination. We are encouraged by what the Department of Basic Education says that it wants to do in South Africa in terms of the curriculum assessment policy statement. We're just not seeing it implemented very effectively on the ground when we work in schools and with teachers. Now, DBE's CAPS says that all children should, especially in life skills, be exposed to visual art, movement, drama, and music in order to develop as creative and imaginative individual. What a wonderful ideal. But it's precisely at this point when we deal with teachers that they get overwhelmed. It's at this point that they say, yes, 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 I agree. I want to teach in this way, but I feel ill-equipped. I feel under-resourced. I feel under-trained. I don't know how to do this. They're overstretched. They need a roadmap. They need a roadmap if they are to be asked to deliver in this new paradigm for education. So for the last 20 years in my personal capacity and the last 10 in my beautiful Buzz organization, I've been trying to work on a roadmap and to test it for teachers. My passion is to intentionally marry education and art so that we can reach CAPS compliance, but we can give teachers the tools to energize their learning and make it more fun for both the teachers and the students. The roadmap must be simple. It must feel easy. It mustn't feel like more work. Teachers are already overstretched. And the goal of our work is certainly also to reach the children. I believe that learning that is fun is learning that will last. When teachers teach with the aid of a performing arts toolkit, they will reach more children, or actually they will lose less children. Many children do not learn very well in the traditional education environment. They need to learn to move. They need an embodied thinking. And there's such agreement in the research environment around education at the moment. We know it has been proven. Children, especially little ones, learn so much better when the full body is involved and all the senses are stimulated. Now, there are many pedagogical tools and there are many modalities that can be used, but in our organization, our weapons of choice is drama, dance, and singing, our pedagogical tools. Simple drama and improv games and exercises, they have a significant outcome on a kid's ability to think outside the box and to problem solve. Special movement exercises, they can deliver results that were previously assigned to occupational therapists. Spatial awareness, gross motor skills, midline crossing, rhythm, everything improves, which of course spills out to the rest of the learning. Poetry, song, fun cognitive games, these are proved to expand vocabulary and communication skills. 21st century skills get developed and arts-based tools are applied for learning. Now I'm going to try something. Because of this format, we decided to show you an internal private teacher training video that we would use if we were to train you and your staff. It is imperfect, but it's going to try and paint a picture of how you can do this and potentially give you just a few secret tools to use. This is used for, we use grown-ups, training grown-ups who will then work with children. Let's give it a go, a quick 90-second video.
When I say I'm in charge with my big buzz voice and I put my hands up like this and I say I'm in charge, I want you to look at me and copy exactly what I'm doing. Everybody say got it? Got it. Right, and I'm in charge. And zoom, 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 zoom. Your turn. Zoom, 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 zoom. And you're up. Well done. And I'm in charge. Shake, shake, shaky, 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 shake, shake, shaky, shake, shake, shaky, shake, shake, shaky. And I'm in charge. Well done. Now, if I clap on top of your head like this, I want you to scream, I'm in charge, and we are going to look at exactly what the person is doing. Everybody say, got it? Got it. But only if I clap on top of your head. What are you going to say first? I'm in charge. Then you're going to do your action. Everybody say, we are superstars. We are superstars. Okay, okay. And I'm in charge. Zoom, 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 zoom. I'm in charge. Wobble, 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 wobble. I'm in charge. Yeah. Yeah. It's your candy, 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 candy. I'm in charge. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm in charge. Dang, 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 dang.
So that was I'm in charge. And as I mentioned, it was delivered for adults, to adults who will deliver something like this with children. Now, which caps boxes did we tick with that? Drama, movement, sound. The children made those themselves. They moved like abstract characters with unique sounds and movements. The rest of the class moved like a group, a unit, a hive. And this allows us to assess their ability to collaborate as individuals, see them in a new light. Kids needed to use a loud projected voice to get the class's attention by saying, I'm in charge, and getting them to listen. So the 21st century skills we developed was creative thinking, collaboration, confidence, etc. This game can also be themed to any learning topic. Imagine learning about transport system, and the instruction is that the child must make the sound and movement of the vehicle of their choice when the clap comes their way. It is very, very easy to adapt these games and exercises, and the internet is an endless resource. One quick more internal game, the analysis of it, and then I'll wrap up. Let's play the next video.
Close your eyes and I want you to think of something that you could find in the kitchen. Anything that you could find in the kitchen. I want you to think of that thing very, very carefully. Think of what it might look like. Think of what it might, what color it is, how big or how small it is. And I want you to open your eyes and now you're going to become that thing in the kitchen. So if you were a spoon, you could stand like this. If you are a fridge, you could be like this. And so this would be my fridge handle. So you're going to think of something and then become it with your body. And go. No talking? Okay. Now I'm going to come around because remember, I'm on a spring cleaning mission. And I'm going to come to one of you and I'm going to start taking you out of my kitchen. And you need to scream, "Don't throw me away!" And then you need to tell me why I don't need to throw you away. In other words, what is your function? So if you are a fridge, you could say the following. You could say, "But I keep your food cold." If you are a kettle, you could say that you need me to boil water. So you need to tell me without telling me what you are. Let me try. Oh, this is an interesting. I think I need this one. Let's see. So don't throw me away. Don't throw me away. Why not? Why do I need you? Because your bread would be boring without me. Are you a toaster? Yeah! I definitely need a toaster. Let's try. I don't think I need one of this. Let me throw it away. Don't throw me away. Why not? Because you need me to make your water hot. Are you a kettle? Yes. Oh, this is a very interesting shaped kettle. I definitely need you.
So don't throw me away. It's another buzz exercise. Don't throw me away. Another buzz exercise. Many on the internet. Would love to teach you all of them. Lots of things happening there. Abstract thinking in full swing. Out the box thinking. Children are becoming inanimate objects and they're doing character play. They have an opportunity to describe objects' function, naming it. The aim of an exercise like that is to actively build and explore their creative and descriptive vocabulary. So it is our responsibility to teach for every type of child. The exercises give those children struggling in traditional settings an opportunity to shine. With small adjustments, these games can be played with any age range. One of my favorite actors, Ethan Hawke, in a beautiful recent TED Talk said, "If you want to help your community, you must express yourself. To express yourself, you have to know yourself. And the arts offer that tool. It allows us to deeply know ourselves, trust our own ideas, our intuition, and grow confident exponentially. That's when art is not a luxury, it's sustenance." I'm wrapping up.
Hanneke, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and I know our workshop presenters are waiting. And I just want to say thank you so much to you for bringing learning and the arts alive through Buzz. You spoke about Ken Robinson. He's my academic crush as well. I just love what he speaks about in his book Creative Schools and his talk about that schools are killing creativity. And so thank you for inspiring us again to engage in a robust paradigm shift you mentioned there, and that performing arts should be the toolkit that we teachers use in our classroom. So thank you so much. Abigail said in the chat, your passion on this topic makes me excited and inspired. So thank you so much for sharing with us about Buzz. And to our attendees, I know we've had quite a lot of questions in the chat about Buzz. Buzz is actually in our exhibitor space, so they've got a booth there. So if you want to learn more about Buzz and engage with them, please hop onto the exhibitor booth to find out more. And don't forget that Molly Metronome, my dear friend, thank you to all of you helping Molly Metronome with your party packs and all the challenges that you're completing. Keep going with that. We're now going to head over into our workshop spaces. We have 3 workshops that are happening. Arts for Health by Spiel Collective, The Teacher as Artist by Timbile Shuma, and the Butterfly Arts Project by Zaid Philander. If you're struggling to find your workshop, go to the agenda click on the workshop that you'd like to attend and you will enter the workshop space. Straight after the workshops, we have a bit of a break, and then we'll be back on the main stage in the main session at 16:50, that's 10 to 5. So we look forward to seeing you then, and enjoy the workshops. Thank you.